impressed with Richard Ellis because every time he came off an aeroplane, as you left arrivals, above the door it said, there was a picture of the world, and it said, 3/4 of the world is covered by water, and the other third is covered by Richard Ellis, Chartered Surveyors, 610 Bruton Street, London W1. And I thought, well, that's interesting. So I went along for an interview, and through several layers of interview, I managed to get a job. But I think probably the key point on the job interview was when I was asked why I wanted to be in real estate. And I didn't really have an answer to that. It's a pretty imposing question. So I said, I quoted from Peter Gabriel on the album Foxtrot. He was at Genesis, for those of you who are young. And he said, with land in your hand, you'll be happy on earth, but invest in the church for your heaven. And that's roughly what I've done. So I rolled through Richard Ellis' professional department, very important to learn valuation, management, etc. Up investment, ended up setting up a financing business with an investment. Andrew Huntley promoted that with us, and then we set up an equity financing business, which is quite an achievement in the late 80s, early 90s, when Richard Ellis, as it was then, was really seen as a firm of estate agents, and we were trying to give sort of corporate finance advice and financing. So I think that was probably the biggest achievement at the time I was there. And after that, I went off to work for the Bank of England, in fact seconded to the Bank of England, and then came back to set up an asset management business, working with various people, and that morphed into a joint venture with a great entrepreneur called John Beckwith, who was a great friend of Andrew Huntley, the then chairman, and we got AIG, the big American insurance group, in, and we created this joint venture to take on the world. And then we didn't quite take on the world, but we did a few things, and that's the business that morphed into Europa Capital, which is where I am now. Well, it's changed a lot. When I joined, I mean, there were sort of 400, 420 people, I think, in the whole shop, and now there's more than that in Amsterdam. So it's difficult to compare then and now, and it's developed over the years. But frankly, it's now a global winner. It's omnipresent everywhere. It's got skill sets in every kind of niche, as well as the mainstream. So it's one of the global winners. Many have died on the way, and CBRE has grown and grown. Well, quite traditionally, I mean, obviously in investments, we're a fund, so we can finance things for clients at CBRE. We can buy things off clients at CBRE. We can use CBRE in the traditional way. We tend to be on the equity side and on the debt side. Yeah, I think actually all of us need people to draw us through early parts of our career. Unless you have, it's very hard yards. And I was quite lucky. I mean, very early on, I worked with a fellow called John Borner, who was the valuer's valuer in the West End, and he taught me a lot about property, and he was a great man. And then, when he goes to the firm, I was sort of picked up a little bit by Sir Idris Pierce, who became president of the RSCS, and he nudged me into one or two more complicated areas of tax and so on and so forth, which gave me a bit of an angle in that. And then I moved across the investment side, and Andrew Huntley became my sort of mentor for some time, where he was head of the investment department, and then as he went on became chairman of the partnership. So you do need these people who are prepared to give you a chance at new ideas, new things to do for the firm, and take a risk on you, frankly. And those three, Richard Ellis, as it was then, would be my choices. But I don't want to cut out all the other people who helped. Thank you, all of you. Well, first job, I think I remember my first job at Richard Ellis was to go and sit in a court as a junior note taker to Alan Wilson, who was an independent expert on a big lease rectification case, rent review case, on King's Reach Tower, which is currently being developed into apartments on the South Bank, but then was the sort of Sainsbury's headquarters. And there was a big issue about how you calculate the rent for a notional lobby. Too complicated to go into on this. And I sat in court there, taking notes ready for when Alan had to go and give his expert witness. And the thing I really remember about that case was, first of all, the agreed bundles of documents created on disclosure documents in this case, were about 12 three-drawer filing cabinets of stuff. So whatever you write down, somebody will find it. So always remember that. If you want to make sure you're happy with what you've written down, because it'll come into court if there's an issue. And then secondly, it was a charmed moment for a youngster like me, because there were in court giving evidence in defence and against this case some of the leaders of the property industry at the time, and Joe Levy and Campbell Stock Conversion was a big public property company at the time, and little old me invited to lunch with them occasionally. So that was an extraordinary moment for me, frankly, one I cherish. Well, I mean, it's quite a gregarious occupation, so you have to be out and about a bit. There's no shrinking violets, really, in successful property people. And there's nowhere to hide in a firm like CBRE, I wouldn't think. I mean, you've got to be pretty good at what you do. You've got to know, you've got to be qualified, knowledgeable, personable, and you've got to have ambition, I guess. And that's probably true of most big firms. Otherwise, you'll just you'll not succeed. Well, this is very exciting. I mean, connectivity. I mean, a lot of us have worked in an organisation the size of CBRE. Now, I've talked about Richard Ellis, there's here Parker, there's St Quintin, there's Hepper Robinson, there's all the firms bought more recently and brought into the group. And it should be for every one of those people. But these are all people who've worked together and have sometimes lost contact a bit because they've moved off to other firms or become clients on client side and so on. So the connectivity we can all gain out of this should be the benefit of us, access to research, access to old friends, the creation of business opportunities. I think that's what it's for. There's something in it for all of us. And I'm really pleased that the firm has got this going.